Japanese automaker Kawasaki is largely known for their sporty bikes like the Ninjas, the H2s, the ZX, and they are very good at making those. But they are also very good at producing capable cruisers. One such cruiser is the Vulcan S, which is incidentally their first cruiser in India. And we have the opportunity to test it out and find if it is a good product and if it makes for a perfect first impression for the company. But before we begin the review, a big thanks to Aurum Kawasaki in Chhatarpur for providing this review unit. And if you are in Delhi and you want to check out the Vulcan S or other Kawasaki bikes, then you can surely go and visit their dealership. I would like to switch things up for this review and talk about the engine and the performance first, because that is something that actually surprised me. Now, this cruiser comes powered by a 650cc parallel twin liquid-cooled engine, and this engine can also be found in other 650cc Kawasaki motorcycles like the Ninja and the Versus. But the tuning is different, and it produces about 60 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and about 63 Nm of torque at 6,600 RPM. What is interesting is that the maximum power and torque figures come in quite high in the rev band, and what that means is, despite this being a cruiser, it's quite fun to redline and then shift on this, and you almost feel as if this is not a cruiser and this is more like a sports bike. But it does maintain its cruiser characteristics as well, as you can easily cruise at about 4,000, 5,000 RPM and the bike won't feel stressed. It is very quick to get to 100 km an hour from zero, and it also maintains itself quite nicely at triple digit speeds thanks to its heavy weight. The 6-speed gearbox mated to this engine is just icing on the cake, because shifting through it is very easy and it's quite smooth. You do not have any kind of a slipper clutch or anything, but you can still easily shift between gears and even get to neutral quite easily. Apart from the characteristics of the engine, the Vulcan S departs from the cruiser nature in one more way. It is the exhaust note. Now, this is quite an angry and ferocious exhaust, but it's not that thumping sound that you would expect from a 650cc cruiser. Let me just give you a demo. So, it's got a little bit of thump, but it's not what you would expect from a cruiser of this capability. But that can also be solved quite easily by replacing the exhaust. There are no major engine heating issues on the Vulcan S. Oftentimes you will feel some heat coming out from the engine, but that you can easily ignore. The engine vibrations are also quite minimal. They only creep up at certain RPMs in certain gears, and they're majorly focused on the foot pegs, but you can easily ignore them because you have so much fun on this bike. Now let's talk about how the suspension performs, and since this is a cruiser, you would expect it to absorb most of the bumps, and it does. Both the telescopic fork up front and the monoshock at the back provide quite a nice experience when you go over city roads, which are often found with bumps, broken patches and speed breakers. Speaking of speed breakers, the ground clearance is actually quite low. It's just 130 mm, so you will have to be careful because this bike bottoms out quite easily. But other than that, the suspension setup is quite soft. The monoshock is also preload adjustable, so that adds a bit of customization and you can tune it to your liking. The 300 mm disc brake at the front and the 250 at the rear, along with ABS, are quite confidence inspiring when you pull the brakes, and they bring you to a halt quite steadily and in a very short distance. And the tires also provide a good amount of grip. You have an 18-inch at the front and a 17 at the rear. I found the bike to be quite steady going over all sorts of terrain that I could find in the city of Delhi. Being a mid-segment cruiser, the Vulcan S does not sport flamboyant looks. Rather, with this black matte paint job, it looks very subtle, and if that is something you're going for, then this will definitely be a great product for you. But if you want a little more flair, then Kawasaki is also offering the Vulcan S with an orange and black paint job, and that will cost you about 10,000 rupees more. The fit and finish all around is quite sturdy, and I did not find any great faults. All the weldings are covered nicely behind these covers, and you have these nice glossy metal plates all around. They give it a nice look, and even the foot pegs are quite sturdy. The only issue I had was with the fact that neither the headlamp nor the tail lamp is an LED unit. Both of them are halogen units. The headlamp definitely looks good, but the tail lamp looks a little bland in comparison to it, and so do the turn indicators. But overall, I really like the solid, composed and well finished look of the Vulcan S. The Vulcan S did not only surprise me with its engine and performance, it also surprised me with the ergonomics and the riding position that it offers. The seat height is just 705 mm, which means that even short riders can easily ride this bike and have their feet planted. Me, I am 6 feet tall, and the best part about this bike is that it comes with something called the Ergo Fit. And what that does is basically, when you buy this bike, there are 3 configurations for the handlebar, for the foot peg position and for the seat. So if you are someone who is shorter than say about 5'7", then you can adjust the handlebar and the foot pegs and the seat in such a way that you can easily reach everything. And if you're taller than 6 feet, then again you can adjust the handlebar and the foot pegs. In its stock condition, it is ideal for the average Indian. The saddle is quite broad and provides a good amount of space for the rider to sit and position himself, and the cushion is quite comfortable. Even the seat for the pillion rider is adequate, and you can easily seat a person at the back and they won't be running out of space. The handlebars kind of cave in on you, and I really like that. The switch gear is quite neatly placed. There are no cheap looking parts. All the switches have been finished nicely. The instrument panel is also quite functional, as it shows you an analog RPM band, and you have a digital display which shows you things like your speed, the fuel level, the range, your average that you are getting, the gear position, time and 2 trip meters. The only thing that I feel that Kawasaki could improve would be the fitting of this instrument panel, as it moves and wobbles around as you press the switches to toggle between different modes. You can also adjust the brake and clutch lever to your liking. Kawasaki has made one hell of a first impression with the Vulcan S. This is in all senses a very capable cruiser. It has an engine that performs in a super fun way, and I loved riding it around the city. It is quite accessible. The small yet innovative ErgoFit feature makes it accessible to riders of almost all heights, and the fit and finish is also impeccable. It impressed me at almost all fronts. There are a few things that you need to be careful of, like the ground clearance especially, and the exhaust note you'll have to get used to. But other than that, at 5.48 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi, I feel that this bike is worth every pretty penny that you throw its way. And with that, we've come to the end of the video, and you guys know what to do. You can like this video if you liked what you saw. You can comment if you have any kind of questions except for mileage, because that is something we could not test. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, do so, because otherwise you'll be missing out on great automotive content that we put out every week. And until the next time we meet, drive safe and ride safe. This is Akash signing off. Bye-bye.